Dusk casts its ominous shadows over the Collins estate. Soon another night will come to the great house, bringing with it the hope that the terrors from the past may finally be put to rest. One man has a plan, but only time will tell whether it succeeds or fails.
Chris, come into the drawing room with me. I think a drink might help settle your nerves.
It's not going to help me stop thinking about Sabrina.
But her situation hasn't changed. Her condition is the same in spite of the fact that she collapsed. I examined her thoroughly.
You know, Julia, I can't even think about anything else. I just see her sitting there, staring at me.
She isn't able to speak, Chris, so she can't identify you.
I don't care about that. I just as soon she went ahead and did it. Tell her brother, tell anybody. She was young, she was beautiful, she was alive, now she's a vegetable.
But you weren't responsible.
What do you mean I wasn't responsible? Of course I was responsible. I'm not going to take that cop out anymore.
Now listen, Chris. Barnabas and I have been trying to help you. If we succeed, then perhaps you can help Sabrina.
I don't believe it. I don't believe there's any help. There's not a chance in a million of helping, not from you or from anybody else.
Where are you going, Chris? Chris!
What's Mr. Jennings so upset about?
Professor Stokes, where did you come from?
I was in the study. I thought I heard your voice. What's wrong with Jennings?
Oh, he's having problems.
That tells me precisely nothing, which I'm sure is what you intended. I'm glad you're here, Julia. I'm going to be needing you this evening.
Oh, for what?
I'm going to exorcise the ghosts from this house tonight. And you are going to help me.
Exorcise the ghosts?
I shall attend to the ritual itself outside the house. I want you inside the house. Shall we go into the drawing room, Julia? There's less chance of our being overheard there.
Professor, does Mrs. Stoddard know what you're planning to do?
I could hardly proceed in this without her permission.
Do you really believe that exorcism will get rid of the ghosts?
I don't know, but can you suggest a more scientific method?
No, I can't.
Neither can I. That's why I'm going to attempt the exorcism.
All right, Professor. I don't know what I can do to help, but I'll do whatever you want.
Good. I want you and one other person to stay here in the drawing room while I... When the time is right, I will leave the house and begin the incantation at some point outside. Good evening, David. I've been expecting you.
I was playing hide and go seek with Amy. This is my favorite hiding place.
Yes, I'm sure it is. Come in, David. Come in.
Professor, how did you know that he was there?
This afternoon, I noticed that someone had been using the panel recently. So I sprinkled some sugar between the foot of the stairway and the panel itself. All I needed to hear was the crunch of one footstep. Now then, David, I think it's time we had a talk.
We already had a talk this afternoon.
Yes, but things were different this afternoon, weren't they?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Let's say there's been a change. A change in you.
I better go tell Amy where I am. She'll be wondering
David, Amy has been with Miss Evans in her room for the last hour. You see, I know you weren't playing hide and seek this afternoon. In fact, I know about everything that's happened to you, David.
Nothing's happened to me.
Sit down, David. Look at me.
Why?
Just look at me. David, you know what possession is?
It means to own something.
That's right. And when you own something, you can do anything you like with it, can't you? For example, I own this pencil. I can do anything I like with it because I possess it and it does whatever I want it to. Suppose it no longer did what I demanded of it. I could discard it and find a new one. Or I might become angry and decide to snap it in two so that it would never be able to function again. Of course, no one would care very much because a pencil isn't a living thing anyway. Human beings are living things, David. If they allow themselves to become possessed, they become just as helpless as this pencil. Do you understand that, David?
Yes, I understand.
And you know that's the cause of the fear that's deep inside you? The fear you haven't been able to express to anyone? Isn't that right, David? You have no reason to be afraid any longer. If you cooperate with me, I can help you. Do you believe that?
I don't know. Sometimes
Sometimes you what, David? You mustn't be afraid to speak.
Professor, what's the matter?
He's here in this room now. Isn't he, David?
Oh,
I don't know his name. Only you know that. And you know he's here now.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yes, you do, David. You know he's here, watching you, listening to you.
No! No!
Tell me where he is, David.
There's no one here.
You have no reason to be so afraid of him. If you have the will to resist him, he can't possibly hurt you.
Leave me alone! Leave me alone!
Are you speaking to me or to him?
He isn't here!
Who isn't?
No one's here!
Oh, yes, David, someone is. He's standing right over there at the window.
No! No! I didn't mean to...
Sorry, David, but we had to find a way to come to terms, you and I. You see, there's still time for you. Now he's only with you, possesses you when it suits his needs. Someday he'll want to take permanent possession of you. And if he is allowed to do that, then David Collins will no longer exist.
Chris! What's the matter?
I spent the afternoon in the cottage thinking things over, and I've decided I have to leave Collinsport.
Leave?
Yeah, I'm all packed, and I came to say goodbye. Carolyn, I'm sorry it didn't work out.
You're sorry what didn't work out?
You and me.
Chris, I don't know what that means. You've told me so little. I never knew whether you and me meant anything or not. The only thing I have been sure about is the way I felt about you since you came back to Collinsport.
I don't think I should have come back.
You're still not telling me anything. Can't this be the one time you can explain yourself?
I don't know how, Carolyn. I just wouldn't know where to start.
Well, I guess if you keep going through life, never committing yourself, you'll just never lose, will you, Chris?
Carolyn, believe me, I have to go, and you are part of the reason.
Stop it, Chris. And don't tell me you're leaving because you love me.
I do love you.
And I love you. Well, that takes care of that. Now we both said it. The book can be closed. The story is over.
Forgive me.
Well, I have to forgive you. I love you. Maybe if you ever stop running long enough to think about it, it'll finally dawn on you. Goodbye, Chris.
Chris, I hear you're leaving. What do you think you'll accomplish by running away?
I don't know. I really don't, but I'm not going to hang around here and hurt anybody.
You've already done that.
Give her a few weeks. She'll get over it.
It won't help, Chris. No matter where you go, there'll always be another Sabrina or another Carolyn. Chris, the only answer is to stay here and let us help you.
Barnabas? And you? Don't push me, Julia. I've made up my mind.
All right? If you won't stay for Carolyn's sake, then you must stay for Amy's sake.
What are you talking about?
Barnabas and I believe that there's a definite connection between your problem and the supernatural events that have been affecting the children.
What does it have to do with Amy?
Professor Stokes believes that there are 2 spirits in the house. The children have seen those spirits and are possessed.
Possessed?
The danger may be over after tonight, we hope.
Nobody ever even told me the children were in any danger.
Chris, there is evidence that the spirits know something about the curse that made you the way you are. If we can find out what that is, then perhaps we can end the curse.
All right. I'll stay.
Carolyn? Is something wrong?
No, nothing. Can I help you?
Yes, please. Would you be good enough to get David and bring him here?
Yes, of course.
He has problems, too. Nonetheless, David will be here in a moment. I want you and Carolyn to watch him very closely while I'm outside.
But what if he doesn't want to stay here in the drawing room?
He must be prevented from leaving. By force, if necessary.
But why?
Because I'm hoping he will provide us a clue as to when the exorcism is over and whether we have succeeded or failed.
Well, how will David do that?
If the spirit is forced to abandon him, you'll notice a marked change in his behavior. It could manifest itself in any number of ways. If you observe no change, then we have failed.
I understand.
Carolyn, I don't want to go downstairs.
Obviously, your task isn't going to be easy.
Obviously.
Can't I just
Come
stay
now,
upstairs?
come to the drawing room, David.
The music.
It's the same as we heard last night.
I know. It's also our cue to begin.
Why do I have to be down here?
Don't worry, David. This won't hurt a bit. Yes. Yes, it's definitely time. Julia, you will tell Carolyn what to
David, you sit here. Carolyn, you sit on the couch next to him. I'll stand over here.
Where did Professor Stokes go? What's going on here?
Now, you'll know soon enough, David. Now, try to be patient.
Whoever you are, time has come. thee, contemptuous and evil spirits, by the judge of the quick and the dead, by thy maker and the maker of all things, by him who has the power to cast thee into hell, depart in haste the confines of this house. Thou restless and unquiet shades, malignant creatures of that nethermost pit where the fire is not quenched.
I gotta get out of here!
No, David! Come right back
He's
here.
crazy! Stop this crazy! He'll kill us! He'll kill us all! He's crazy! This is his house, not yours!
Return to thy
You can't chase him away!
and
You'll be
set
sorry!
free
You'll be
in
sorry!
the name of the Lord.
Professor Stokes said he'd react this way. We mustn't let him get up again.
I can't bear that music much longer.
Alien spirits, defilers of innocence, persecutors of virtue, in the name of the Lord, cast thyself back into that outer darkness from whence thou came, and where thy everlasting punishment awaits thee.
Julie, what's happened to him?
I think he's gone into a trance.
We've got to get him out of here.
No, Professor Stokes said it might happen. No, leave.
How do you know Stokes knows what he's doing? There may be something seriously wrong with David.
It stopped.
I think he's coming out of it.
What's going on? What am I doing downstairs?
David, how do you feel?
Fine. Why?
You don't remember being brought downstairs? Professor Stokes, I believe you succeeded.
How's the boy?
He's a little dazed, but other than that, he's all right.
David, if I've succeeded, you no longer have anything to fear.
What do you mean, if you've succeeded? Of course you've succeeded.
It appears that I have, but I made arrangements with Mrs. Stoddard to stay the night, just to make sure. Now, if you'll excuse me, I want to go to my room. Good night.
Good night.
Do I have to go to bed now?
No, David. Your Aunt Elizabeth said that we were to stay down here until after it was all over, and then she'd come down and join us, so let's just wait for her.